Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another episode of the Big Home Ed Conversations. My name is Kelly Rigg. I'm a home ed mum of two and a qualified mindset and ADHD coach. I'm really passionate about supporting parents and neurodivergent families as they navigate children not okay at school and ultimately then the transition from mainstream schooling into home education, as well as all of the other lovely ways that we sometimes need to educate our kids. I'm here together with my co-host, Ashley Vanerio, a fellow home ed mum of three and former primary teacher. We created the Big Home Ed Conversations podcast with what began as honest, heartfelt talks around the coffee table, which has now grown into a space where hundreds of listeners now tune in for real, unfiltered conversations about alternative education mindset and educational philosophies. We cut through the noise and focus on what really matters to home educating families. As you'll probably know by now, we have been sponsored this season by Stru. It's a home education logging app that was created by a home educating mum and her brother. We have been loving using the app and have been asked to honestly review different features each week. And so this week, we're telling you about some of the settings that go on behind the scenes. Something which I was thinking about myself this week, because I set it up, obviously, the very first day I downloaded it and chucked all my details in. And I hadn't really gone back and thought about it since. But actually, in the study pack sections, when you kind of go over to the menu on the left and go down, you can go into study points and you can change the settings at the bottom there. And ultimately, you can choose a type of education that you tend to follow. So in there, for example, is child-led learning, Waldorf or Steiner, Charlotte Mason, unschooling, sort of in a deschooling phase, whatever it is that you're kind of doing right now. And what that does is it helps to structure what the study points looks like. So if depending on which one you select, it will give you a different list of types of study points to be working towards. And obviously that study points thing is just a lovely kind of, again, optional thing that you can be using to kind of give you an idea of where you're at in your home educating journey. It basically, over the course of sort of time, it allows you to see how much literacy work you've done, how much mathematics, etc. And I find that quite helpful in terms of just being able to, at a glance, so if I look at ours, for example, there's loads of personal, social, emotional development stuff and communication and language and that kind of thing. But actually kind of our physical development and literacy, I maybe haven't logged as many of the things that they've been doing on there. So it helps me to kind of keep a track of just the gist, really, of what kind of areas we're really prioritizing and putting a lot of work and effort into, and maybe areas that we're not doing so much. But have you found yourself having a little look at that yet, Ashley?
I didn't think about it same as you. When I set it up, I just chose basic home education because I think I was just eager to get in and see it. But when we were talking about this, I went in and checked and I was like, oh, I think I might actually look at the US one because that's some of the curriculum that we follow. Likewise, we also do a lot of Charlotte Mason. So I think I might explore a little bit and just see which one. And in the end, once that custom feature is available, I might actually kind of mesh a couple of them.
Yes.
And see if that sort of fits more because we are a bit eclectic. I love to say that I definitely am always following Charlotte Mason, but it's just not true. We do tend to have a structured approach to certain things, unstructured towards others. We rely a lot on living books, but then also we will sometimes just follow a curriculum open and go. So I think we do have kind of this hybrid approach to our homeschooling here. And I love that this app can actually accommodate that in a way that helps me. So yeah. Have to see.
It's a really handy little feature, isn't it? And I think as that feature kind of develops as well, I think it's going to be really helpful. Obviously, if you click on, say, for example, literacy, it then goes to your feed and it will basically filter it for you and show you all the literacy things that it's counted towards those study points. But it obviously just helps you to kind of see the kinds of things you're doing. And again, all of this is optional. Whichever way you do it is totally your bag. Like, never any pressure to try these things out. But ultimately, Stru is designed by someone who gets it. And I think that's what really makes this matter. That there are lots of different apps and things coming out at the moment, but it's always really nice to use one that we know supports a home educating parent with her income so she can carry on home educating her kids, which I always love anyway. I always try and do that wherever I can.
Yeah.
But also, ultimately, they understand. They're a UK home educating family. They get it. They know exactly what we are dealing with. And that is really important to me too. So go and give it a try. So this week, I feel like, honestly, me and Ashley have just spent the past half an hour talking about the heat wave and how utterly miserable we are. And so when it comes to journaling and feelings, I feel like we've got a lot of our own, that's for certain. They said about how the heat has made our kids crazy. I mean, we are a neurodivergent family over here, so we do tend to see a lot of dysregulation in general. But my youngest is communicating only with shouting at the moment and has spent 99% of her time wet from either water fights or just pouring buckets of water over her head outside, or going in the bath that's just been sat there full all day
Yeah.
so that she could just dip in and out as needed.
Which is
she's
okay.
she's
Yeah.
basically a hippo or an elephant or something. Just like they just need to be constantly wet when it's hot so they could just
Just
keep
submerge
crawling down.
yourself and
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, we refuse to go to the Lido, as I really want to go to the Lido, but it will be
Yeah,
people soup.
no.
Why is the first heat wave happening over half term? That is just utter cruelty.
Exactly. I know. I know. It's like, of course, it's a bank holiday, but don't get me wrong. Like, lovely for everyone who
Yes.
planned a holiday. And last time this year, it was not great. So I
Mm,
feel like, oh my gosh,
yeah. Good for
amazing.
them. Yeah.
And then likewise for everyone who didn't plan a holiday, like you can enjoy your home and your
Mm,
backyard and go to a park, and it's going to feel like a holiday because it is warm.
yeah.
So it is good, but for those of us who don't have that thick skin to deal with like the crowds because we're not
No,
used to
yeah.
it, it is not
No.
okay. We are not okay. Check on your
No.
homeschooling friends.
Yeah. We are all lonely and we are all stuck at home
We're
wondering where the
we're
local
all
paddling pool
refusing.
might be.
Yeah.
We are so sad. But yeah, so there we go. That's our feelings on this matter. We
Yeah.
are hot,
Quite
sad,
honest about
lonely,
it.
and I mean, I'm just like, I literally Deliverooed stuff for like sandwiches for dinner tonight. Like, I'm that lazy today. I'm not even going to the shop. My car was too hot to touch. Okay, like I tried earlier and it was too hot. So,
Well, and
never mind. I'm hiding.
to your point, like I don't want to put the kids in the car again. Like it was enough
No.
to do the few errands that we had to do today.
Yeah.
And I at the end was rushing back because we were moving so slowly.
But yeah. So I guess honestly, you could hear us rant. We could just sit here and rant at you all day. Honestly, we're going to try and pull ourselves together. Okay, we know it's hot. We're going to try and behave. So, feelings and journaling and all that nonsense, we tried. I think
Same.
we
Same.
tried. This is a difficult one because we do a bit of this. So obviously, I am a coach, and that means that I am trained to A, listen, and B, to notice emotions, notice the hidden feelings that are going on in things. And so I do spend a ridiculous amount of my time kind of semi-coaching my kids and supporting them to work through their disagreements and all the rest of it. And actually, that's pretty much where we started with this. Is I just thought to myself, I'm not necessarily going to prepare anything extra. I am going to just try and be a little bit more, well, a little bit less, guys, stop fighting, and a little bit more, okay, let's talk about our feelings and actually what is going on here, and actually like go all in with the coachy stuff and try to help them to work through their problems. And one
Mhm.
of the things which has worked really well for us a number of times, actually, and I keep having to print them out because I need to probably laminate it, is a feelings wheel. Now, if you Google it, you'll find an image. You can just print one off. Don't spend a load of money buying one from somewhere. But essentially, it's just a circle, and in the middle, you've got things like happy, sad, disgusted, etc., like the main top level emotions, and then it kind of goes further out and further out into more descriptive words that help to kind of explain the feelings that you're having in those moments. So you might be feeling, I don't know, angry, and that's because you're frustrated, and that's because someone's done something mean to you, whatever. So it's not a good example, but you get the point. Like it gradually
Mhm.
goes out and explains how you might be feeling. And my kids honestly seem to really love it. It A, gives them more words to describe how they might be feeling, because angry is quite a big feeling and it's not very easy to understand sometimes why. But when you drill down into it, they actually, when they sit and read around it, they're like, oh, actually, yeah, I'm feeling frustrated and lonely or not listened to, or like, I don't know, say for example, if one of them wouldn't go and play with the other. It's like, these are all the feelings that I felt because of that. And what I actually decided to do this time is a bit different, was to say, okay, so you are feeling like that. That's interesting. Can you tell me how you think your sibling feels? So you, like, please don't say anything yet. Can you tell me
Mhm.
how you think they were feeling or are feeling now? Like, what matched your feelings? So everyone has always got a feeling, like literally always. And when someone does something that wrongs us, often we assume that that person was feeling vindictive or mean or whatever. And actually, it's because they were tired or hungry
Mhm.
or fed up or just needed a bit of space or were feeling a bit whatever. And it turned into this really interesting conversation around not a hierarchy of emotions, because that's not really fair, but to some degree, that is the case. I mean, if we want to think about criminal situations of consent, etc., that sometimes one person's feeling does outweigh another. So someone
Mm-hmm.
really doesn't want something to happen to them. It is not okay for you to do it just because you want to. Not so much a
Right.
feeling, but an action, but you get the point. And I said, well, so say, for example, you were feeling really playful and cheeky and fun, but the other person was feeling tired and sad and didn't really want to play right now. Like, what we've got to find a compromise here. Like, we've got to find a way to like be okay in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, we've got to remember that when we have a feeling, other people have them too. And they really grasped it, actually. And we tend to just keep that feelings wheel out and around a lot, because it does spark conversations and it does help them to express themselves sometimes when
Mm-hmm.
they're feeling something. They say, "Oh, where's the wheel?" And I'll put it on the table and they'll point at it and they'll tell me what they're feeling, and it helps them to give them a word for it. But I thought that further exercise was really helpful to just get them to really start to think about when we have feelings, other people are having them too, and it's because it's not selfishness. That's not really, I mean, even selfishness isn't a bad word, but it's kids can be a little oblivious. Like they feel
Of
their
course.
feelings, and they don't necessarily truly notice or care or have the cognitive ability yet to do anything about anybody else's feelings. And so it's not to try and make them feel bad for it, but developing that awareness is a skill, and is something which I think a lot of us were probably raised without much support or guidance on feelings and respecting other people's feelings and boundaries and why they might have felt how they felt or why they might have responded how they responded. And like, because I know that when I had kids be mean to me at school, I'd often get that kind of, "Oh, well, they're not your friends, just stay away from them," or, "Oh, that
Yeah, of
wasn't very
course.
nice, they're just bullies, like, ignore them, bullies aren't very nice," or, "They're just jealous," or whatever. And that was helpful to some degree, but it wasn't, in the sense of it never helped me to truly work it through, um, and to reach an understanding with that person. And I think that I would have preferred to have a lot more of that as a child. Um, that would have been really helpful for me.
Yeah. Definitely. So I think there are, like you were saying, these opportunities to kind of pull them out and say, okay, what are we actually feeling? What is actually causing this? And how is
Mm.
it then being communicated, which are often very
Yeah.
different things.
Yeah.
Um, we didn't start with that though. This is like, I feel like this week's topic for us was a bit of a fail. And I don't know why exactly. Maybe because it was a little too not too, it was just a lighter topic.
Mm.
So when I started with like my usual route of like podcasts and let's find some, I really wanted to get into more like positive affirmations that we start our day with. There
Mm.
are some great, really short ones, 2, 3, 5 minutes. And I was playing them in the car, and the girls were just laughing at it. They had
Mm.
zero interest in taking it seriously. They did not want to take a deep breath. One of them was this like mini, and I mean just so many. It was not long at all, like a 30-second guided meditation. And they were like, "We don't want to do this. We're gonna do a meditation. We're like mad. We're gonna call it meditation." I was like, "Oh my gosh." So although creative, so it was just we got zero effort completed in that. And so then I tried to do journaling, but their curriculum right now is like one of the things we're working on is writing. So adding another writing task was
Mm.
not anything they wanted to do. I am thinking though, because we are going to be traveling a bit, that while we're not doing any of our normal like language arts program, I might, and I already did purchase little notebooks for them. So I might take those with us because they're
Mm.
tiny and just be like, let's at the end of each day write something that we like, something that happened today, 1 or 2 sentences, like the best part of the day, and then what we were thankful for.
Yeah.
And I think that might help with like some of that because I really do want to get more into, like I said, affirmations, also gratitude,
Mm.
and sort of also changing the spin of things, like not always going to the negative, but
Yeah.
let's have our initial response be to find the positive, because I feel like I'm more that way. My partner might not be so much that way. And so I feel like I'm trying to lead them
Yeah.
lead them in my direction, for better or worse. That is what it is.
It's really hard sometimes. The British culture, like I'm being very generalist again here, it's not fair to sweeping statement it, but we do tend to err on the side of a good moan. Like we do love to have
Yeah.
a good whine about the weather, or we do like to have a good moan about something else, share our woes. And it's
Yeah.
totally fine. I mean, people are who they are. And I
Yeah.
definitely was raised to be that way to some degree. And it's been a whole hard won journey trying to actually shift to be more conscious of the joys of the lovely bits in my life. And like when I was literally just ranting to my husband last night about the day of our dog barking at our new neighbours all day. So we couldn't have the back door open, which meant that we were just sweltering in the house. I literally caught myself and I was just like, okay, but I also beat my son at chess today. And we had a really fantastic couple of games of Harry Potter Monopoly Deal, and they've been super engaged with the rainforest project we've been doing, and we've had lots of fun with a friend coming over the day and tasting a lot of rainforest fruits. Like we went to the supermarket, got loads of rainforest fruits,
Mm.
and sat and tried them all with our friends. And like they actually tried so many different things that like ordinarily get them to put stuff in their mouths that they don't want to taste is just not happening. But they actually gave some stuff a go, which I was super proud of. And I had to I actually forced myself to stop and go, these are all the lovely things that happened today, like through my tears.
Yeah.
It's like, this is an awful
Yeah.
day. No, it hasn't been an awful day. It's actually been an okay day, but it's just been really hot and we're all really grumpy. And it was fine. And I think these are moments of it's role modeling. It's showing them that, okay, it doesn't always feel good. We don't always feel good. And it's okay to not feel good too. Like we're allowed to not be in a good mood, but actually it's important to recognize if we're sweeping all of the good under the rug and only noticing the bad. You're saying about journaling, actually, when we went up to see the Harry Potter show recently, I went to the Mina Lima store, which is just like it's the
Oh,
people who did like the
yes.
print works for all the graphics basically
Mhm.
for Harry Potter.
Love them.
And they had these little blind bags, so you could get like a notebook and some stickers or whatever in them. So we got one each for my kids as their little souvenir for the day and took it home to my daughter. And she was so excited to open it. And she got a little Defense Against the Dark Arts notebook. So it just has the cover that looks like one of the books from Harry Potter and then it's just a notebook inside.
Amazing.
And oddly enough, like I didn't ask her to, it wasn't something she necessarily started as part of this project, but she has started to write her feelings in it sometimes.
That's
So
hot.
getting her to talk about her feelings has been a really tricky, hard one thing. So she is suspected autistic, and talking about feelings is not really something she likes to do. She tends to shut down on me. But just lately with
Mhm.
using the feelings wheel and also just we've used some other resources as well. So things like the Color Monster books, the
I love those,
Invisible
yeah.
String to help with understanding kind of separation anxiety and stuff like that. And it helped her to sort of realize that she's not the only one who feels these feelings. So there's lots of different ways with journaling. It doesn't have to be writing. It doesn't have to be pictures. It can be talking. It can be expression in some ways. It could be just other types of art. It could be like having taken some time to just be with your thoughts and to just be
Yeah.
alone. So I don't tend to enjoy journaling. I find it too slow. The act of
Yeah.
writing it down annoys me, which I know sounds like really impatient. But it's not
No,
something that I
but
enjoy very much. But I do enjoy doing art. And I do enjoy sometimes just if I'm feeling sad or I'm feeling a bit fed up, then actually going and sitting and doing something creative or cooking as well. Actually, baking is one of my forms of journaling. Like I literally would just go inwards and just be in my own little head and just enjoy doing a thing.
yeah.
And so I try and teach men that a lot, actually, that actually sometimes the yuck feeling can be shifted with some sort of action. It doesn't have to be doing anything productive per se, but just doing something different. So that might be going for a walk or drawing a picture or making some Lego, whatever. That actually, a lot of the time, the feelings we're feeling is actually just like a stuck boredom, irritation, tired, hungry, like take some sort of action. Like there's something there, your body is asking for something, like what is it? And yeah, most problems in this house are solved with a snack and a glass of water. 99% of our problems are solved that way. But yeah, it's just that's a thought that I found myself thinking. And there was also a journal, which I do have a link on one of the old blogs, which I'll try and find to bring forward to the blog for this one. But it's called a Wow Journal, and it was made by a home educating family, I believe. And it's it's kids that made it, I think. And it's literally like a journal that they can each day is like a question to just ponder over.
Mm.
And they can write a little bit
Nice.
about how they're feeling that day, and they can draw a little picture, and they can write a little bit about their answer to that question. And it's like if you were a superhero, what superhero powers would you have? And that's sort of like just nice little mindful
Yeah,
questions to just kind of
exactly. Those
snap
are
them out of
great.
whatever's going on in their head right now. And I really liked that. I thought it was a really lovely thing. It comes to proper physical product as well, so you can buy the book on all the usual places. But I'll make sure we link it in the blog about the episode, because it's really cool and it's a really nice thing. But yeah, there's loads of ways of kind of tackling journaling and offering it as a choice. But I would say that like anything forced with journaling just doesn't work. And if they're not feeling it, then it's a pointless exercise, because it's just going to make them really angry.
100%. 100%. I mean, I remember in school having like a topic sentence. It was always felt like busy work, like respond to
Mm,
this or something. And some people take to it, just like you were saying, that like journaling for you is too slow. I absolutely get that. Like if you're handwriting
mm,
something, now that we've had a taste for like speed, whether you're typing
mm,
or like listening to something at a faster rate, to actually like have to go through it is hard.
mm,
But I know there are so many benefits to like writing something that you're
mm,
thinking for like
yeah.
brain processing and all of this. So I do think it is really important, but finding like the clever ways to go about it. It doesn't have to be necessarily like, what did you do today? There's one that I want to do, and I just don't think we're there yet, but we really are close with my oldest. There's one that's like a mother-daughter.
Mm,
So like the prompt, I'm sure they have this for like, I looked at that one obviously because it applies to me, but I have to imagine they have it for all the genders and like parents, dads, moms, whatever. But there are these little prompts, and you like write it, and then it'll say, okay, now give it to the daughter. And then there's something for her to write and respond to, or
mm,
read and respond to, and then something for the mom. And so it's this really cute thing. And it can be like something like, when did you learn to ride a bike? And what was that experience like? Like really random
mm,
things that aren't necessarily very serious or
yeah.
personal or anything like that, but are just like little things that are
Mm,
interesting when you love someone you want to learn about. So at some point, probably soon, I'll do that. And that can be kind of like a creative little
mm,
outlet. And then, of course, it's a great treasure after
yeah.
it's completed, right? Like, how amazing is that? So
Mm,
there are these really cool options. It's so funny because when I used to teach at a school, and when I left, the teachers there gave me a gift, and they knew how much I loved like stationery and all the pens and like post-it
mm,
notes and all this stuff. So I mean, obviously when you're in that world, um, I'm finding all the things because it's like, oh well, I use it for work. So I had all this stuff. So when I left, they gave me this book, and it was like a journaling effort it's called The Book That Takes Its Time. Pretty sure that's the title. And it is so cool. It has all these different things that you can read and respond to, and the pages are folded. It's very like Mina Lima, like in that it's got like
mm.
little pop outs and papers that slide in and out, and it's super cool. I've not done a thing with it. I've looked through it. I've been like, afraid, that like fear of messing it up so you never do
Mm,
anything. And in my mind, I'm like, just do it. Like, who cares? Like, it's literally sitting on your bookshelf. It's better than nothing. But also to your point, like, I'm like, oh, I don't have 30 minutes to sit and do this. I have other
mm,
priorities that I want to tackle, but it looks really nice on my bookshelf. But if that is something that you like, then I highly recommend it because it's beautiful. And
mm,
there's another podcast that I listen to where this woman is an avid journaler and like just has all of her past journals like lined up on shelves.
mm,
And I think what a treasure for your children down the road to be able to
mm,
go back and like read your reflections of them as they grew up, and also personal things too. But like, just that is so cool. And then if you know the book Marley and Me, I know
mm.
Jennifer Aniston and Owen Wilson did the movie with the golden retriever dog.
Yeah.
So the author of that, I always remember, he talks about a time when his wife miscarried in the book, and how he commented on how he was able to remember and write this into the story
Mm,
because he was such an avid journaler
mm,
that he would just spend so much time documenting things every evening. I think it was the evening. I could be wrong about that, but before he went to bed at night, like everything that was happening. So he's like, I can vividly recall the
Mm.
situation and what we all went through because I had documented it at the time. And so I always think like, oh, I wish I was a person who was like, okay, I am going to sit down and I'm going to write about my day and all the feelings I had and just process everything. It sounds so incredibly healthy, such a good mental exercise. But instead, I'm really like, okay, I'm going to continue reading this book for
Mm.
2 hours because that is what I need.
I think like reading and stuff like that a lot of the time is like that really lovely kind of disassociating from your life as well. And I think some of us are like, I guess as well, like if we feel like we've actually had quite a hectic day or we've been quite busy or we are in the trenches a little bit, then we might actually find ourselves just wanting to step away from thinking about our day to some degree and not actually wanting to sit and necessarily process it. But I know that this is where it becomes that kind of mental discipline of, if you do take the time to reflect and think about your day and talk it through or write it out or like put down the questions that are in your mind because of that day,
Hmm.
like what could you have done differently around a certain situation that might have happened with your kids, or
Yeah.
why are you saying that to yourself a lot, like here's something I noticed that I'm thinking a lot about myself, or
Hmm.
just little things like that, that just, even if it's just a little thought, because those reflections, taking that time to be present with your thoughts and to not just let them keep bombarding you, is one of the things that I work on a lot with people as a coach, is this kind of awareness of the messaging and the beliefs that make up our brain and what we think day to day. And we have to be so careful that the script that is playing out in our heads doesn't feel too real, that we don't accept it as fact, because there's an awful lot of messaging that's come from our parents and teachers and the media and books and all sorts of different places that make us feel less than, or like we should be different or we should be behaving differently. And especially with our kids with such impressionable young minds, taking in all of this information from all the stuff that they see and listen to and experience, that taking some time to process it and actually say, okay, I'm starting to feel like, I don't know, like for example, body positivity and kind of sexuality and all the things that kind of come up as really big subjects for our young people as they get older,
Hmm.
that we want them to have an outlet or an opportunity to have that critical thought, to be able to go, wait, hang on, I'm starting to feel bad because I look a certain way, or because I've got, I don't know, like going through puberty and I'm starting to get some hair in my armpits or whatever it might be. And like, I know that that means that everyone's going to want me to get rid of it, and why, and what's going on there. And actually to ask those questions. I don't feel like when I grew up, I asked a lot of questions. Um, and I didn't challenge these thoughts very much. And I guess I really want my kids to do that. I want them to notice that they are starting to feel pressured, or that they're starting to feel bad about something, or they're worried about something, or they're having a hard time with certain relationships, and for them to actually not just go, oh, there's something wrong with me, or I need to be different, or I need to behave better, or whatever, but to start to go, wait, hang on, what is actually happening here? And these are all quite mature kind of talents, that is, it's
Yeah.
difficult, but it is something which children are capable of doing. They're quite discerning. Children are capable of forming an opinion. They're capable of assessing a situation and deciding how they feel about it, and giving them the tools, the words, the experiences, the respect to speak up and to say when they're not happy about something. Like I've always said to my kids, like, please challenge me on my behavior. If you do not like something, like, yes, okay, we all have our moments when things are heated and timing is everything, but it's ultimately important to say, I don't like that, or to stand up to me and say, no, like,
Yeah.
like that didn't feel good, or the way you said that made me feel sad. I'd be like, oh, interesting. I'm sorry about that. Like, what about it made you feel sad? Like, what got to you there? So an example was when my son was diagnosed ADHD and autistic, and I've been in a massive ADHD hyperfocus for several years now, since finding out that I was and that he was and all the things. I get a bit obsessed with these things. And I was talking to him one day and being like, oh, you know how like when I ask your sister a question, like a maths question or something, like you can't help but just like splurge the answer straight out at me. And I was like, oh, stop, like let her have a chance to think and to say the answer. And I said, I found out that today that that's actually like, it's an ADHDism. And he's like, oh, stop talking about ADHD. Like it's making me feel like weird and different and I don't like it. And I was just like, oh,
Mm.
I'm sorry. Like I said, that's really not what I'm trying to achieve here. And I listened to him, and he told me what the sorts of things that he didn't like thinking about, and that he was worried that he felt different and that nobody would get him, and that he would be like really different to his friends, etc., etc. we had a really lovely chat, and it was a great opportunity for him to air his concerns about it, and for me to say that obviously the sad thing about this world is that everyone grows up with labels, and we end up feeling feelings about ourselves. We start feeling like that we're stupid, or that we're lazy, or we're
Yeah.
clumsy, or we're just no good at stuff, or we're whatever.
Yeah.
And I said, and what I'm trying to do, and I said, and I might not be getting it perfect, and I'm sorry that I've made you feel different or weird, or like I'm going on about it too much. I said, I'm a bit obsessed with learning about it at the moment, so I am a bit like full on. And I said, but
Yeah.
what I'm trying to do is go, hey, that's not a problem. That's not a failing. That's not a bad behavior. That's not something I need to correct. It's just something which needs a gentle tool. And I said to him, right, one of the suggestions was for the shouting at an answer was, come whisper it in my ear, or cover your mouth with two hands and mouth it to me so that
Yeah.
I can see that you know the answer, but then you're not stopping your sister from having a chance to say it. And I said, this is a positive thing. This is honestly just we're recognizing that these are an issue and that this is causing a problem. Like it's making me feel grumpy. I'm feeling a bit fed up for his sister's sake that she doesn't get a chance to think, etc. Like she's not liking it. It's causing an issue, but actually it can be resolved with some gentle communication, expression of feelings, and some tools and some ways to kind of cope with that going
Yeah.
forward. So again, obviously a bit of a digression here, but it's just an example of how important it is to empower our children with the respect and the ability to speak up for themselves and to say how they're feeling about things. And obviously I appreciate, depending on our children's age and neurodiversity, and some people have something called alexithymia, where they quite literally don't feel emotions, or they can't grasp the concept of an emotion. Like if you say, how does it make you feel? They're like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Um,
Yeah.
like I don't really need to feel anything. Ultimately, it's something which means that it's quite complicated to have these conversations, because they might not really have any strong feelings about it, or they might sense that they don't feel good, but they can't explain it. It doesn't have a set kind of series of sensations in the body or whatever. Um,
Mhm.
and that can be really interesting as well, as a random side thing around that, because it is weird sometimes. People do experience feelings differently.
Different things. Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think it's always good to be aware of that too, because if you're dealing with someone who, like, it's all well and good for us to do this with our children, but
Mm,
later as they go out with their friends and future partners and all of this, if those individuals haven't had that same awareness, then they're going to have to be cognizant of that and
mm,
understand that it's not necessarily someone being rude or angry or anything at them. It's that their own emotional processing isn't happening in the same way potentially. And
exactly.
so I think it's definitely so good to continue to have these conversations. And I do think, kind of back to our original effort with all of these challenges and how do we get things into our day to day, I do think that this is a very, very important component of education
Hmm.
that is so often overlooked or just assumed that we're doing it naturally. And so we don't have to take any extra effort to
Mm,
manage it because of what we're doing just in general, as individuals and as students and teachers and all of this. But I actually do think it is really important. It's like when people say like, "Oh, I don't need therapy because I've never been through a traumatic event or I didn't have a quote unquote bad childhood." But like actually
yeah,
most people benefit from therapy. And what is therapy? It's ultimately just processing your feelings. So
yeah.
I think we all do need the ability to reflect on and
Mm.
then digest and, as you were saying, kind of think of what might I have done differently.
It's lovely, really, I guess, this conversation, because it is important. I agree, it's vital. And a last thought that I had as you were talking as well is that feelings processing is not always a cognitive activity. And I think
Yeah.
we have focused quite a bit on the cognitive side of it, and the processing and the thinking and the brain work behind this. But actually, children are particularly good at regulating their feelings physically. So
Yes.
if you do feel your feelings in a typical way, chances are you get the urge to crush with your hands, or to push, or to hit out, or to slam a door, or to throw something, or to stamp your feet, or to shake, or to tense up, or to go for a run or whatever, right? That we get lots of physical sensations to help us to process the feelings that we have. But actually, we spent most of our childhood being told that those feelings and those sensations were naughty or wrong, and that we shouldn't be actively physically acting on our feelings. Now, that obviously has its boundaries.
Sure, of course.
For
Can't go
sure.
beat people up.
Of course, I'm not telling anybody here that they're allowed to go punch everybody now. But there are ways of channeling those sensations. And if we recognize that we feel them and stop feeling the shame for wanting to hit out or to do something or to physically push something away that's causing us distress, if we can get a bit more in tune with those sensations, we actually can work our way back through the triggers and figure out the root causes of them. And teaching our kids this as well is one of the most primarily important things for kids who bite or hit or push or destroy, and helping them to understand that that end reaction was not actually the only feeling or sensation you had, that there were other more subtle ones that came before that were warning signals. And children are really, really good at recognizing how they're feeling and actually physically doing the things which help to move the energy through their body and out. And often that can be seen as quite disastrous behavior, or sort of hyperactive, or running around lots, or needing to swing on a swing, or needing to jump up and down, or dance, or whatever it might be, right? So they would do things. And if we watch them, actually, we can learn an awful lot from them, because they will feel frustration and they'll go, oh, and they'll have a really good, like, little kind of stompy moment about it. And actually, that is, if you go do any somatic work, you'll start to see people doing this as an intentional, like, class thing. Like, you'll actually have these little toddler tantrum moments. And actually, that's because it physically moves the energy out of your body, and helps you to process it and disperse it. And so we don't always have to necessarily agonize over these thoughts. We don't always have to reflect on them and go through them, but we can sometimes just be like, that was really annoying, and I'm just going to tense my body and then go, and let it all back out again, in a safe way. And I think one of the things I've had to work on significantly as somebody who experiences quite a lot of sensory issues and, like, regulation issues with ADHD is this concept of recognizing my environment, knowing that certain things are going to bother me, and making sure that I do as much as I can to keep my body feeling physically safe. So I guess coming to the end of this episode, we are going to take a 1 week just season break. We'll be back after 1 week. It's just a little tiny break, mainly because we're in just a transition with half term and things are a bit busy. So we're just going to take one little tiny beat, but we'll be back as usual. But we still have to pick our next subject.
Yes.
Like, it's exciting, but it's also a little terrifying now. Of course, some of these have been quite intense. But we hope you guys are enjoying them. I have noticed a lot of you kind of sending me some messages and things now and saying that you're enjoying it and that you've started to listen along. And I hope that some of you have found some of these resources helpful. And we'd love to hear your thoughts as well as you come up against things when you're trying to do it with your kids. So, this is a great one for the time we're in. Oh my goodness. Right. Okay. So the next subject is protest and social change.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
What an appropriate time it is for that in the home educating community, but also for so many other reasons. So yes, but anyway, so protest and social change, obviously there's so many different causes that our kids tend to care about. And we're learning about the rainforest at the moment. So we will probably put a little bit of this into challenging some companies that don't sort of associate themselves with the Rainforest Alliance, for example. We've been learning a bit about that this week. So we were already going to do some bits around that. So I won't cheat too much. But but yeah, this is a good one. I think it's something which is really current and really relevant. So
yeah, and you could definitely take it in a million different directions.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't even say what I'm thinking because I'll save it for when we come back. But like already there's a lot I'm thinking. I won't be able to do it all. I'll have to pick one and follow that.
But obviously we'll be recording it in a couple of weeks. We get a little bit longer to do this one, thank goodness. But yeah, fingers crossed anyway. All right, guys. Well, we'll hopefully see you again on the next one. Thank you for listening. Have a great week. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Big Home Ed Conversations podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Big Home Ed Podcasts for updates. Also, check out our website at bighomedpodcast.com. We'll be back after a short week-long break where we'll give you a quick update on our summer plans and just general chit chat. And the following episode, we'll talk about our experiences bringing the topic of protest and social change to our children. We hope to hear your experience as well, so come talk to us about it on social media. Thanks for listening.